Hi, the theorist that I'm going to be talking about today is Dr. William Glasser. And a little background on him is that he was born on May 11th, 1925 in Cleveland, Ohio, and he passed away on August 13th, 2013. So he is a more recent theorist. And he attended Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, and he originally went to school for chemical engineering, but he quickly realized that he was more into psychiatry, so he went to school and studied clinical psychology. He earned a bachelor's, a master's, and then finally got his doctorate in psychiatry in 1953. He completed psychiatric training at UCLA and the Veterans Administration Center from 1954 to 1957, and he did have a private practice in Los Angeles from 1956 to 1986. And during those years, especially in the 1970s, was when he became very familiar with control theory systems, and that was done through the writings of William T. Powers, who was a popular scientist. And that led him to developing his reality therapy and choice theory. So, Dr. Glasser's lecturing and writing. Through his private practice years, he expanded his career to lecturing and writing. And this is where he published over 20 books. One of those books was called Reality Therapy, and that was published in 1965. This was a bestseller and drew national attention, and counselors became very interested in this book. And in 1967, Glasser founded the Institute for Reality Therapy. Schools Without Failure was another book that he published, which drew a lot of attention because it was the first book about education, and this book was published in 1969. This led to a lot of publications being published and another series about schools specifically, because a lot of his theories, the choice theory and reality therapy, actually really become implemented in the school systems, which I will talk about later. And this also led to the Glasser Quality School movement involvement beginning. Successes with reality therapy led to choice therapy in 1998 being written, and over 90,000 people in the world have taken intensive trainings to learn how to apply his ideas in their personal and professional lives. And that is an accurate statement today. So that is really cool. That was one of the cool facts that I found out through this study. So Glasser's inspiration for choice therapy. His clinical practice led him to develop his theories. So he realized that people were extremely unhappy with their lives and relationships. He emphasized that humans naturally feel the need to control situations, so we tend to force behaviors, and that we're genetically driven by a need for power. So what he developed was this idea that our destructive behaviors are choices. He theorized that humans try to force one another to do things because we want them to. So students do this a lot. So say I want to be friends with someone, I will try to force them to be my friend. And it's something that just happens. We think we can control everything. And that's called external control psychology. So Glasser claimed that we needed to learn how to satisfy our powers by respect and respecting one another. And he claimed that if we could not do that, our days on earth would be limited if humans failed to do so. So that was a very eye-opening thing that he came out with. And he devoted the rest of his life to replacing external control with choice theory and teaching these ideas. And a quote that I saw, we choose everything we do, including the misery we feel. And that's showing that he really truly believed that we are in control of everything, and that includes feeling miserable, and it's our choice to feel that. So a little more on choice theory. It is the universal system for empowering individuals and improving relationships. It's based on the premise that every individual only has the power to control themselves and has limited power to control others. So we as humans cannot control what others do, we can only control what we do. It promotes taking responsibility for one's own life and not directing others' lives. So the goals of choice theory are to reduce the frequency and intensity of negative behaviors, strengthen relationships, increased life satisfaction, and it is important to note one huge part of Glasser's choice theory is that he rejected the disease model of mental illness. So he said that unless someone clearly has a pathological brain lesion, that mental illness does not exist, because it is someone's choice to feel depressed or sad, and that is their choice. So another quote that I saw, it is impossible for anyone, even the most effective among us, to continue to choose misery after becoming aware that it is a choice. So he truly believed that we choose to be miserable, we choose to feel depressed, we choose those things, when we can choose to look forward and change the outlook of our lives. So, the concepts of his choice theory were based on our 5 basic needs. He determined that was love and belonging, power, fun, survival, and freedom, and that we do whatever in our power to meet these 5 basic needs. And these go along with students as well, because students need to feel these in the classroom. Our students need to feel loved. They need to feel like they belong. They need to feel some sense of power. They need to have fun. They need to feel like they can survive in a safe environment, and they need to feel some sense of freedom, or else they're going to choose behaviors that make them feel like they're going to achieve these 5 things. So our genetics force us to do things to meet these 5 basic needs. But that leads to the 10 axioms of choice theory. So I'm going to read through these quick because they are so important to his choice theory. 1, the only person whose behavior you can control is your own. 2, all we can give or get from other people is information. 3, all long-lasting psychological problems are relationship problems. That one is so important to his choice theory. 4, the problem relationship is always part of our present lives. 5, what happened in the past was painful, has a great deal to do with what we are today, but revisiting this painful past can contribute little or nothing to what we need to do now. Improve as important, present relationship. That is another critical component that I will touch on after this, going through these. 6, we are driven by 5 genetic needs: survival, love and belonging, power, freedom, and fun. 7, we can satisfy these needs only by satisfying a picture or pictures in our quality worlds. 8, all we can do from birth to death is behave. All behavior is total behavior and is made up of 4 inseparable components: acting, thinking, feeling, and physiology. 9, all total behavior is designated by verbs, usually infinitives and gerunds, and named by the component that is most recognizable. 10, all total behavior is chosen, but we have total control or direct control over only the acting and thinking components. Okay, so he believed that so many of our problems are direct causes of relationship problems, and that the past, we focus so much on the past when we should be looking forward. Those are 2 things that I really want to touch on because they're important in the future, or in the next set of slides, and when I implement this into the classroom. So another part that was in those 10 statements is quality world, perceived world, and comparing place. A huge part of his choice theory is that we have this quality world. It's a place in our mind where this is what we want, everything what we want to look like. So it's important people, places, things, makes us feel good, and at least one basic need is met to be here. And this is unique to each person. And this is what our perfect world would be. The perceived world is what our perceptual system allows us to experience. And information goes through our 5 senses and then passes through the perceptual system. And it starts with our total knowledge filter, which represents everything that we know or have experienced. And then our perceived world is our reality. So it's subject to change, and it isn't accurate, but it seems accurate to us. And it's subjective to our family, our culture, our education, our age, our beliefs, and it's very unique. Our comparing place is a place where We are constantly comparing our quality world and our perceived world because it's what we want versus what we have. And if we feel good, then when they match, but we feel frustrated when they don't. So choice theory places that comparing place on a set of scales. So when it's in balance, we have what we want and we continue those behaviors to keep it. When it's out of balance, we don't have what we want and we search for behaviors that will get us to what we want. So reality theory and therapy, this is created from the principles of choice therapy, and the purpose is to have individuals make decisions that will help them meet their basic human needs. So he didn't believe in mental illness, like I stated before, and he thought problems stem from unfulfilled goals. So this focuses on the present rather than the past, and it focuses on the client-therapist relationship, so it models the relationship for other relationships in the client's life. And he recognized that disconnect between people caused other problems. So the therapist can help create positive interpersonal relationships. So it's a problem-solving approach, just like we want to do with our students. You want to assess current behaviors, determine objectives, take responsibility, make a commitment to change, work on changing behaviors. Another great quote. What happened in the past that was painful has a great deal to do with what we are today, but revisiting this painful past can contribute little or nothing to what we need to do now. Move forward. He's saying move forward. What you did yesterday has nothing to do with what you do today or tomorrow. So, another quote. When you study great teachers, you will learn much more from their caring and hard work than from their style. So when I looked at choice and reality theory in the classroom, I looked at it as how a teacher would put it in, and then what you would do for a student that misbehaves. So students need to know that they are in control of their learning and behavior. This means that they make their own decisions and need to take ownership and responsibility of their learning. That is the choice theory. Students also need to know that they can control their own behavior, not the behavior of their peers or their teachers. Teachers want to make sure that students' needs are being satisfied in the classroom. That is also part of choice theory. So the learning increases and disruption decreases when a student's connection, then they feel powerful and they have freedom and they enjoy themselves in a safe learning environment. So 3 characteristics in a choice theory classroom. So that would be when coercion is minimized, quality is the focus, and students routinely self-evaluate. So rather than trying to make students behave by using rewards and punishments, just build positive relationships. And then focus on mastery, so quality, and then have your students self-evaluate. That gives them the ownership of the material. So choice and reality theory in the classroom, and 8 steps with behavioral issues. Behaving, and you know you need to attack those behaviors. You want to use that reality therapy and have the student take ownership of their behaviors. So in 8 steps, you can use this and use that choice theory to attack those behaviors. This is one of the best ways to change behaviors in the classroom. So you want to build a positive relationship with the student. It's all about positive relationships. Focus on those current behaviors, address them. Student then needs to accept the responsibility for their behaviors. See if what they're doing is helping them get to where they want to be. Student evaluates their behavior. Okay, this isn't helping me achieve any of my goals. Develop a plan of action for the student to change their behaviors to positive behaviors. Then have them commit to carrying out the plan. Then have them follow through on the plan, but follow up with them and never give up on the student. So the reality theory is awesome for this. Another thing, we almost always have choices, and the better the choice, the more we will be in control of our lives. Students need to know that. Students need to know that they are in control of their lives. We as teachers need to preach that to our students and say that you are in control of your life no matter what you are going through at home or what decision you made yesterday that was bad. Today, tomorrow, the next day, you can make a decision that is for the better, that will better you. And we need to help them get there by making a plan with them, by helping them follow through on the plan, and by never giving up on those students. And that is William Glasser's choice theory and reality therapy/theory. And I hope you learned a lot throughout this.